It's a great day when you get to talk about your most anticipated read of the entire year. I'm fine. What are you talking about? I'm fine. Today we're going to be talking about, of course, what else would we be talking about? Oh gosh. Empire of Storms by Sarah J Maas. If you've never seen this book before in your entire life, I will let you know. This is the 5th book in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. It is a blessing. This whole series is a blessing. This whole author, a blessing. I love it. It's a fantasy series about this girl, Selena Sardathian, who's an assassin and she kicks butt, and then everything changes. And so, if you have not read the beginning of this series, I would beg you to go do so. Also, please read The Assassin's Blade before you get to this book and Queen of Shadows. This book has gotten a lot of talk, a lot of hype, a lot of things surrounding it. People are gonna hate it. People have hated it. People have already sent death threats to Sarah for this book. I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. I'm Sarah J Maas trash, man. I'm getting a second copy of this book next week, no lie. I can understand why people might not like it. A lot, actually. But I really enjoyed myself. Like, enjoyment level was like A+, 10 out of 10, would recommend. Is it my favorite in the series? I can happily say it isn't. I always tend to have this problem where the next book is like the best book ever, and I did love this book, but I noticed while I was reading it that I was like, this is good, but remember Queen of Shadows? So I think right now I'm going to stick with Queen of Shadows as my favorite in this series, just because I really love the arc in that book, and I like how all the characters kind of get meshed together, and all the girl power, obviously. This one, yes. This one. I can't talk about this one very much unless you've read it because I do not want to spoil you. Please note, I have tabbed this book a crap ton, okay? I put my heart and soul into this. I have not fully defaced it, but I have some interesting pages in here. This is my favorite right here. Yes, this phrase is used like 3 or 4 times, not gonna lie. If you want to know my actual thoughts about this, I loved it. It was great. Please read it. And if you haven't read it, go. Empire of Storms! You should know this is my second time recording this. I didn't turn on my mic the first time, and I said some great things. I understand why a lot of people hate it, and I understand. I do. I really understand it, but that's not gonna stop me from loving the heck out of it. I think this book is amazing, and it deserves to be loved, just like Sarah deserves to be loved. I'm not gonna talk about the ending yet, because the ending sucks. I mean, it is horrible in the sense that my soul hurts, so we're not going to even worry about that. But we're going to talk about the characters because literally the characters are like my favorite thing of this entire series. Honestly, it's my favorite thing about Sarah. Sarah just has a way of writing characters that feel real but also envelop my entire soul. Like, I feel like I am all these characters, honestly. Maybe not every aspect of them, but like their humor, the way they act towards each other, like it's basically me. Like, I could be a lot of these characters. I love every single one of these characters, like all the protagonists basically. All of them are my favorite. Except not really, because Lysandra's actually my favorite. But all of them are wonderful in so many ways. I love this book because we do get the full effect of all the characters like coming together and being this big thing of wonderful cuteness, because like obviously we have a lot of characters from the beginning of the series kind of coming together and building things up. We have Dorian, who's finally king now. We have Aelin, who used to be Selena. We don't have Gale, but I don't really care. And then it just kind of keeps growing. We have Adian, who came into the 3rd book basically. We have Rowan, Manon, and then it kind of keeps growing from there. We got a lead who's a little bit new. We got Lorcan, who's really new. We got Gavriel and Fenris, who are also kind of old, kind of new, a little combination. We have Ansel, who is all the way from Tab, the Assassin's Blade. We have Rolf, who kind of counts because he's from the Assassin's Blade. So many characters, and all of them are super well developed in my head, and I'm baffled. They're wonderful. My favorite, like I said, is Lysandra. Like, I don't know what happened, but Queen of Shadows, like, just, I love Lysandra. I think my favorite scene of hers is obviously her big scene where she turns into a sea dragon and she kicks ass and is awesome, and I love her. I love her so much. I also really love her relationship with Adian. Like, the two of them together, just beautiful, and they better work their crap out. Okay, they better, because I expect them to be together. Endgame. It's happening. Speaking of Adian, Adian is awesome. I love him. I love his humor. I love so many things about him. He's just beautiful. But I really love that Sarah finally was like, he's bi. He isn't completely straight. Newsflash. I really loved that whole paragraph where he's talking about attraction with Lysandra, and he's like, I've had both. I like both. They're great. I was like, yes, thank you. She made a couple more diverse people out there. Like Darrow, is that how you say his name? I don't know. The evil guy from Terrasson. He is, he fell in love with the dude, and then the dude died, and now he's really sad about it, so that's great. And we have Maeve, who has a female mistress, so she's like basically bi. I think that sounds about right. And then there's Rowan's cousin, Enda. Is that how you say it? Enda? I don't know, but he has a mate who is awesome, apparently. We still haven't heard from what's-his-face from Air of Fire, who I'm really sad about, but they're a cute couple. I want to talk about a lead, because she has this paragraph about sexuality and her attraction to people. And like literally when I was reading it, I was like, this is me. This is asexual, this is demisexual or gray sexual or whatever you want to call it, all of those things. I don't think that's what Sarah was going for. Like, I feel like when she was writing it, she was just writing someone who had gone through trauma and was like, I can't feel attraction because I have been like physically abused and I don't like feel that way anymore. So I can understand if that's why she's not asexual, but like that paragraph, literally, I was reading it and I was like, this is me. This is asexual right here. So I'm like kind of hoping that she's demisexual, even though she probably isn't. But I'm gonna pretend that she is, because I need that representation in my life. And I love Alib. Like, I'm so happy with her arc. I feel like everybody kind of like didn't know what to do with her in QOS. Like, she's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't hate her, don't really like her. She's just kind of there. What do I do with her? And then in this one, she like became her own person. And I think it helped that she had Lorcan to kind of bounce her personality off of. But I just really love her. I think she's great, and I really love how she's grown as a character. And then we have Lorcan, who is like my second favorite character. He's so wonderful. I don't know, man. He just like my kind of dude. Sarcastic, mean, wonderful. He's like Reese, but not. I just really loved him. I loved his and Elid's relationship because you could tell Lorcan was like, why would I ever fall in love with this girl? Like, she's a human and she's like lame. Like, why? I just realized that's literally and figuratively. But then he comes around and, I mean, he makes that big mistake in the end, but he kind of did it for love, if you think about it. And I'm just really hoping that Elid will listen to him and let him explain and let him like repent and confess his sins so they can be together forever. Like, anytime they were on the page, I was riveted. I was like in it to win it. It was wonderful. So then, who else do we have? We have Manon and Dorian, who is the next weird couple. Like, all of these couples, I ship them so hard. And I don't even know how this happened. But I'm just gonna give a shout out to Emily. Emily from Millions Millie Books, my BFF, who's awesome. You were right, I was wrong, I'm sorry, okay? I have apologized for this, we can move on now. Dornan is canon. Can't even. Like, I don't know, I don't fully ship them as much as I do the other ones because I think they're still working through things. And I still could not get past that whole sex scene, honestly, but I do like them together. Like, I think they're supposed to be together, I just want to see Manon grow. Like, I love Manon. Like, Dorian has a great arc, and I think he is turning into a really fantastic character, but Manon, freaking Manon is great. I love how she has just changed from, like, this evil witch into this, like, somewhat kind queen. Like, I love the line where they're like, they realize that there are two queens in the room, and I was like, heck yeah. You could be the king, but watch the queen conquer, Dorian. Sorry. I just love Manon, and I love the scene where we have the bloodhound, and Manon is told that Astrid is dead, and she flips shit. Like, she goes mad. Like, she's just all about that female power. I loved Manon's arc because she is now so involved with the war, and she's so Team Aelin and like getting shit done and getting the keys and like keeping everybody together. Like, she's just awesome. And then we have Abraxos, who like brings the saviors to the war battle. What? He's awesome. They're all awesome. I just love everybody so much. Okay, let's talk about our favorite couple. The sad couple. I think we're gonna have to talk about the ending now. It's unavoidable. I really did not enjoy their sex scene like at all, and I'm so over their sexy whatever the heck it is. Rowan, the saddest ship that ever did sail. The funny thing is, spoilers, if you haven't read Akamath, please leave right now because we are going to talk all about it. But it's funny because she literally did the exact same plot, basically. I mean, there were some changes, but basically the same exact plot device, and I still was surprised the second time I read it. Like, she dropped it on us and was like, oh yeah, by the way, we got married 2 days ago. And I was like, wait a minute, I've read this before. And yet I was still shocked and still overjoyed that it happened. And the thing is, they're very similar endings in a lot of ways. The Akamath ending was a lot more hopeful. One, because you knew that, like, Tamlin sucks, but he's not as bad as, like, he's not gonna whip Feyre, okay? So it sucked, but it was like, yeah, it's hopeful. Like, we're gonna go save her and she's fine. She can handle this. Aelin, on the other hand, like, freaking, she's stuck in this box of iron. Like, when they talked about the iron coffin, I just, like, lost it. It was awful. Especially the line where they put the mask on her face. I was like, that's it. I'm done. Bye. I'm gone. Sorry. I don't know how she got me twice. I really don't know. She literally did this to me in May, and I'm still, like, shocked that she did it. But I love that they're married. I love that they're mates. We all knew they were mates. It was hinted at 1,000 times. The ending was a little bit of a damper on everything. I think the most amazing part, though, about Aelin's character is that, like, she's one of the smartest characters, if not the smartest character I've ever read about. And you have to be smart as an author to write a character like that. So that is one of the reasons why I'm so impressed with Sarah when she does her writing for Aelin. Like, Aelin always has a plan. And, like, even now, she's in a coffin. She's with Maeve. Like, there is no hope for her. She knew going into it she was gonna die anyways. But she still followed through and, like, had all these armies come to her aid. And, like, she has Lysander turn into her. And, like, she has Rowan become the king by marrying him beforehand. Like, she literally has everything planned out. Even though she's suffering. Like, she's fine. Like, it baffles me that she's that smart. I'm so sad. Even when Sarah was talking about it before the book was released, she was like, you guys are gonna hate me for the ending of Empire Storms. Well, she didn't even say the ending. She just said you're gonna hate me for Empire Storms. And I think all of us were like, okay. And, like, some people chose to go with the Kale route. Like, there's no Kale in this book, and I'm kind of happy because I hate Kale. Kale and Kale. And then, you know, you could go for the other route, which is she doesn't say that Dorian's bi. A lot of people didn't like that, and I was like, well, she made Aedion bi. But also, I can see your point. But then, you know, Aelin's in a coffin. She told us it was gonna suck, and, like, I can understand it, and that's one of the reasons why I don't hate Sarah. Because, like, it had to happen, and it makes sense. And, like, aside from that little detail, everything else is going pretty well in the world. So it's like, you know, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. I have faith. I definitely have faith. Like, everybody's gonna come out. Maybe not everybody, but a majority of them I feel like are gonna come out okay. And, like, even, I can see what happening in the next book. Aelin gets out. Like, Rowan saves her or something. She could get herself out maybe. And she ends up using the keys and, like, sacrificing herself. But she basically just sacrificed her immortal life, is my guess. And then Rowan will be like, wow, that sucks. I'm gonna sacrifice mine too and we'll be together. Or else there's gonna be some gods intervening, being like, just kidding, here's all your immortal life back. Like, I could see that happening too. It's literally Harry Potter, so we've seen this happen before. I hope she does it differently than the Harry Potter books, but, like, the whole time I was just like, I've seen everything before and yet it's all new. Ah. I love the characters. I love how the plot has come together. I love the world. I get to go to a Sarah J Maas signing next Friday night, and I am literally so freaking excited to give this woman a hug. Like, she takes us through hell, especially in her endings, but I just, like, she's a genius. And I know a lot of people hate her and hate her books. It pains me. Every time someone on Twitter says they're gonna hate read her book, it pains me a lot. And I really wish I could change people's minds. She's my favorite author because her worlds are just so rich, and she just puts so much into her characters that, like, even though there are some problematic things maybe, and even though it may not be the best written thing, it's a little bit like a romance novel where it's kind of trashy in some aspects, but, like, I genuinely believe she's a fantastic writer, and she has fantastic plots, she has great characters, she knows how to write, and I just love her for that. So even though she kind of, you know, took my heart out of my chest and squeezed it and is gonna steal it for a couple months, maybe a year, probably a year, I forgive her because I trust her. She knows what she's doing and it's gonna be great. And I cannot believe that the next book I'm going to review in this series is going to be the finale. Like, how has this happened? Also, it's been like 2 years and I'm hardcore Sarah J Maas trash. How did this happen? A lot of feelings. There are a lot of good things about this book. A lot of things that... Well, actually, you know what? I haven't talked about Kale. Let's talk about Kale. I did not mind him not being in this book because I think from a fantasy perspective, he would have slowed it down. I have experienced this a lot, especially in A Song of Ice and Fire, where sometimes you just don't have the room or the time or the pacing to include certain POVs, and it just so happens that Kale was like the only one really that was left out. So that, I think that's why a lot of people were mad, also because the Kale fans are very bitter people and I don't get it. But like, if she would have added him in, like, even though he probably went through a lot of crazy stuff on his own, like, I think it would have slowed the book down and it would have been a little unbearable. Like, I could hardly stand his chapters in QOS the first time. The second time, I think I appreciated them more, but, like, I'm glad he was not in it. I think I would have read this even slower if he wasn't in it, or if he was in it. But, like, she literally told us that he's gonna get a novella. And, like, I'm convinced that either she's gonna tell everything that happened in this book to him in that novella, or the novella will maybe be some backstory or something. I'm guessing it's probably going to be what happened in this book so she can just move on to the finale, you know? I honestly didn't mind it, so I'm not that worried about it. I really hope he doesn't get his walking legs back, because I think it would be much more cool, and I think it would be much more accurate if he just, you know, stayed paralyzed, because we don't have a lot of characters like that. I'm interested to see what happens to him, I guess, but like I said, I didn't miss him. Naemia! I forgot about Naemia. I talked about her the first time I did this review, but I was so, like, all the flashback scenes were really great. I'm not gonna lie, the mirror scene did remind me of the pensieve scene at the end of Harry Potter 7, when Snape is like, so you made him a pig for slaughter? And I was like, so Elena is Dumbledore? What? But we get to see Naemia in the flashback, and I thought two things during that moment when I was reading it. Number one, friggin' Naemia is back, and I miss her a lot, and she deserves to be alive. And number two, this woman had this whole thing planned from the beginning. It baffles me how well she plans her books, because she started this series like 10. She started this series like 10 years ago, I think, like when she was 16. And somehow, 6 books later, 10 years later, she like had it all planned out, basically, because she had Naemia's thing planned. There's literally a chapter in Throne of Glass where we see, or maybe no, I think it is in Throne of Glass. I'm pretty sure it's in Throne of Glass. It might be in Crown of Midnight, but I think it's in Throne of Glass, where Elena and Naemia have a chapter together and they're talking, and you're like, what is going on? The first time you read it. But then you realize what's happening. But now you get the full truth of it, and like, we are like 3-4 books down the line that she already had this planned out, you know? And it just, that moment I was like, wow, like, I'm impressed. And I texted this to Emily Hornberg, who I was talking about this whole time, and I was like, I'm hella impressed and hella depressed. That is like the tagline of Empire Storms. I wanted to like text everybody I knew and be like, guys, Naemia's in this one, Naemia's in this one, but I couldn't, because spoilers. I like it a lot. I love this series, guys. It's like, as I was reading it, I was remembering, well, I was realizing that, like, this is my new Harry Potter. But I'm so excited to get to see Sarah in a week, and, like, I have to wait another year. Like, I hate this. I'm so mad at myself that I got involved in this, like, right after Heir of Fire was released, because I've been eagerly awaiting all of these releases for so long. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about the book, and if you have Sarah J Maas or Empire Storms hate, put it to the left, put it to the box in the left, and just don't comment. I don't want to see it. If you want to tweet it, fine, but like literally just let me enjoy my trash, okay? And it's not even that trashy, it's wonderful, so just stop complaining. I don't know when I'm gonna reread this, because I will reread it before the finale. I may end up doing a whole series reread before then, because I should. I don't really know. That's a long way away. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!